Hello everybody and welcome to the video. Today I'm going to show you guys how I do my chorus fruit farm or flowers. You could just change it up how you want it. You can kind of see it working in the background, but let's go over it. So how the system works is every minute or so, because in Sunlit Valley there's Botania. So I just use an hourglass, but there's other ways I'll show you here in a sec. But basically it sends a signal every minute. This thing goes all the way through, places down the flowers, and then they just kind of grow. And you can't change this to set up to, get more fruits or more flowers. But after a few minutes or so, again, it will drop TNT, break it all up. Then these chests that have magnets, they reach in a 5x5 block radius away from itself. It collects all the stuff and it gets piped into this chest right here. Now this is the inefficient way. Like you can make this much more efficient simply by making it into 8x1. Meaning just like, 8 of the flowers to one TNT thing, because it reaches in this radius. And so if you wanted to expand, right, you would just expand either like left or right. So that way you don't need more deployers. You just need 3, just kind of going down the middle, and you just keep going, left or right. Now, next thing we need to talk about is the collection system. Now in Sunlit Valley, we got sophisticated storage, which these advanced magnets, they have a range of a 5x5 from the chest, right? Like up, down, left, right. And this is the range. Now, if you're going to do something like this, you want to have like one chest, kind of going this way, one over here, because when it does explode, right, it kind of drops everywhere. For instance, here you go. We'll light it up. And you'll want like that, like extra lip, because like you can see, like all these guys kind of fall over the edges, whatnot. I have a magnet on myself, but that's why we want the chest kind of like near the edge, like so, because like you can see, it has this much overcast and that much also. And there really shouldn't be many falling outside of this range. So just kind of like, match it. Now the build's pretty simple. All you need is have your gantry shaft and just build it how you want it, left or right. And then on the end over here, you'll just want to extend it just a little bit more, just so you're out of the TNT range. Place down your sequence gear shift, and then right on top of that, place your gantry. And this is where we're going to just like build that, weird shape. It doesn't matter what block you use. The only thing you will have to do is have a little gap that it can go through, like so. Because if it doesn't have this gap, it's going to stop. Like if any block's in its way, it won't move anymore and it'll break. So that's why we want a little gap between our TNT thing and a gantry itself. But once we go up high, we want our deployers like on the 3rd block, right? So, you go 1, or no, this is 1, 2. We want them on this block right here. So that way it pushes down, and it affects the bottom block. And so we just match it with the end stone. So just go out and be like, okay, there's 1. Go out again. And then go out one more time. Now the reason why we're also splitting up the end stone by 3 is because it has a better growth rate. If it's closer, it's going to like kind of block up with each other and whatnot. But this is what you'll do right here. Have this all set up like so. And then we're just going to then take our trusty glue. And we're just going to right click, bang, like so. And just go through all of them. And then we want a chest on top somewhere, just so it will collect these stuff. And we're pretty much done. Now we just need a power source. And we just need to expand our gantry shaft thing. And say we want it only this far, right? Like only this far. We want it, again, enough that it's going to be not near the blast radius of the TNT. And then we're going to go into here, right click it. And then we're going to now set up a thing. Now I like a delay just because I like it set. So for instance, if it receives a signal, right? It's going to wait, say 10 seconds because the signal is going to match with a TNT. We don't want the machine going at the same time the TNT is going to explode. So we'll just set it to like, say, 12 seconds. And then we're going to have it move And basically the meters, all that is blocks, right? So if you just pressed F9, right, twice, you have this grid. You can see, okay, we're outside of the grid by 3 blocks. Plus then this thing's whole side is in a grid. That's 16 blocks. And then kind of over here, right? So a total of it, that would be like 19 blocks. You can set it a little bit further, but we'll just go in here and we'll write 20 blocks. And then what it's going to do is now it's going to await a new redstone pulse. And that's again, like this is where that TNT is going to happen. And then we're going to do a delay once again, and we'll just do it at 12 seconds. And then we'll have it go the opposite way now. And you'll have to like kind of go through this because sometimes it is going to be like wrong. Like maybe like it's not supposed to be this way. It's supposed to be the other way. But then you'll just grab yourself a button or anything like that, just so you can test it out, so you can see how it works. And if it's correct, remember, it does take that 12 seconds because that's what we set it to. Maybe before you do that, you just test the piston movement, but it works. And if we, for instance, threw in the flowers, right, you can see that it's placing down the flowers. And it goes out the 20 blocks. And now it's going to just wait for that another redstone signal to come back. Now, if you want to go the extra mile, you can like grab your things and set the filter to just the fruits. So just in case if something did fall into these chests, right, it would only use the coarse fruits and not like, or the flowers and not the fruits trying to place them down. And for it to come back, you just hit the button one more time. And remember, it's going to wait that 12 seconds. And then when it does, then it will just slowly come back. Like so. All right, next, since we now have a way of letting these things grow, we need the funnel for the TNT. So that middle block, we just grab some obsidian or placeholder blocks, right? And you want to get to this level right here. So you can see you go up to here. And we need this block to be a gap because that is where it comes through, right? And then we just kind of like build around it. Obviously it doesn't need the corners, but you just kind of like build around it just so it can funnel down straight without like veering off to whatever side. Like so. Doesn't have to be too high. Next, we just grab a dispenser. And this thing just has to go like looking downwards. And with that downwards, then we need the redstone link. And we're going to get to the frequency here in a sec. I'll now show you guys the options for the redstone stuff. Your first option, and like the most simplest, is going to be the hovering hourglass from Botania. Now, I do have a guide on how to do Botania, but this is a recipe for it. Mana glass, mana and steel ingots. It is super simple how it works. Basically, you take sand. Each sand is worth 1 second, right? So if I have 64 blocks of sand, right-click in it, it's going to be 64 seconds. Goodness. And it'll just slowly kind of like drop down. You can kind of see. And you can use other blocks, like, for instance, I think it's like the soul sand lasts a minute a piece. The red sand lasts, I think it's like 10 seconds or 5 seconds. How it works, if I place this down, right, in one sand, it's just going to send a pulse every single time, right? Like, there you go. Every 1 second. Now, if I put, a few more blocks in there, right, it's now going to take a little bit longer. It's now 5 seconds a pulse. And so this is the simplest one. It's a bit hard to get to them, but the next easiest thing would be a dropper system, where you will be losing 2 TNT every time though, because how it works is, let me turn off my magnet, or get rid of it, I guess. You have items in here, it drops it, and it makes a light, and then this would see it. The observer would see the light turn on, and then it would send a signal pulse, because it's a change, and drops the TNT. And then after the 5 minutes for an item despawn rate, right, it will turn off the light, like so. And then it would send another pulse. Then this thing would drop one because it, noticed a thing happen. So it sends 2 pulses then every single time. So you burn a lot of the TNT for no apparent reason doing this one, but pretty simple to set up, right? You would just have blocks like so, a pressure plate, dropper with then a redstone right here. And that's how it just sends the signals over and over and over. Just be careful you don't have your magnet on to then ruin the setup. Then you have to like manually place one again. But once you drop one, right, the system's going to just keep going as long as you have items in the chopper and in the chest. The next one, a little bit more complicated, but you basically have 2 hoppers, right? You have one hopper like pointing in one way and in the other. And now this is going to be essentially locked. And what works now is you would then take a redstone comparator, look one way, look the other way, and then take some placeholder blocks like so. Then the piston goes, or a sticky piston goes on top like so. And then you take another block, kind of do like that. You take your redstone and you have one down there and you have one right there. One down low and one up top again. And then you take a redstone block and you just stick it in one of the sides. And then you can have an observer on both sides, or you could just have it on one side. I think it's just best to just have it on one side. And once again, then you would have your link attached to it so that whenever the pulse happens, right, it will send the pulse. Now for this thing to work, you would just take the whatever seconds you want and then divide that by 0.4. So for instance, if we want 60 seconds, we would just type in 60 in a calculator, divided by 0.4, and it tells us 150. And that's 150 is the amount of items we need for 1 minute to pass. So for instance, we'll just take, 64, like 2 stacks, that's 128, right? And then just minus that by 150 just to know the last, and it's 22. And we just put them all like that. And basically what's going to happen now is this hopper is locked. It's transferring it into here. And once all these items kind of go through, we'll just take it out just so you can see it a little go faster. But once those items go through, it's going to now change, and then same thing. And like this would receive that pulse though, right? But this is pretty simple to set up, much faster than getting this one, but looks is another thing, right? But you can have this all hidden. Now the redstone links are beautiful. How they work is quite simple. You just set them near one of those, contraptions or whatever that sends a signal, and it receives a pulse. Now, how you can tell what it receives or what doesn't is you'll have to shift and click it, right? One is a receiver and one just gives, right? If it has a little disc, it's the receiver. And if it doesn't, it's just a disc, right? And what these filters do is this way you can set up numerous things. You have a red or a blue thing, and you can place items on both or just one of them. Whatever suits your fancy. Obviously, if you do 2 different items, right, it can be harder to replicate on accident. So for instance, in this case, right, if I'd set redstone up top and then sand on the bottom and then put 2 sand in there, right, it gets a signal, but it doesn't send it here, right? But if I put that and that I just have redstone on redstone, right, whenever that flips through, nothing happens. Reason being is this isn't receiving yet. So I shift click, and now you can see every time that flips, it receives a signal there and it sends a signal here. So if your setup doesn't work, just make sure you look at the colors, make sure everything matches, because right, if I accidentally put 2, right, it doesn't work no more. It has to match with your base receiver or your base signal. That is the redstone links. Now then, to put it all together, we just send one of our signal guys, place the redstone link near it, and then we'll just put a stack of sand, because I like to do it at 1 minute or 64 seconds, I guess. And then we're just going to take some block that wouldn't be related. We'll just put end stone. And then we'll just go up here to then our TNT guy. End stone's there. And then we change it to it so it receives it. we'll place some TNT inside so it can drop TNT. And then we'll remove our button and then place our redstone link. And then once again, place our two things there. Now, whenever this thing receives a signal, what's going to happen is this guy's going to wait 12 seconds. That guy's not going to wait. It's just going to drop the TNT on that spot, which we can place a obsidian there so it doesn't break through. But it'll drop TNT. It'll break everything. These guys will pick up the stuff down low. And then it will then move 20 meters. So all the way over there. And then same thing. There we go. It happens. We saw the signal. Drops it. Explodes. And you can see right here, I had it too close up. So we have to increase the height. But then you can see then these guys will go through. And it places it all down. And then it's going to come all the way over here. And then it's just going to wait. And while we're waiting, we're just going to increase the height up here just so the blast radius doesn't get us one more time. Place the dropper down. Place TNT. Our redstone link. Turn it into a receiver. Place our two items. And hopefully now it should work fine. And you can see it just did the 1 minute. Blows everything up. And then it's going to slowly go here. And I think we're out of flowers. Oh, no, we still have them. Okay, so it goes. But that's pretty much it. And now the only thing you have to do is change the delay. So at 64, you saw the amount that we got. But that just depends, again, on what you want. For instance, if you set it up like this, you may want to give it some more time so it can grow up higher, right? Because the more flowers it makes, the more fruits you end up getting. But if you want specifically flowers, you'd want to make a little setup that looks kind of like this, right? You'd want at 3 blocks high, make this middle block empty, and then just place the obsidian blocks around the corner. Kind of like so, right? And the reason being is you'll have a random chance of it spawning multiple flowers. And because the TNT, when it explodes, it gives you flowers, right? You're always going to make back your original, if that makes sense. So for instance, if I come down here, you can see I have 10 there, 10 there. But let me put it to just 8. I'll break that. We're going to get rid of these. And we're just going to go through it real quick. Okay. So we're going to place 8 down. And you can see they're kind of growing and they all have 1, but they have the chance of splitting off and then making 2. Right? So at the bare minimum, we're always going to receive 8. And we should be having now 9, 10, 11. So we should be getting at least 11. And so then what we can do now is grab that TNT. Place it down in the middle, light it up, and then we come down here. We got 11, and then we got some fruits also. But now, same thing. We would just take that and run it back, and we just keep doing that over and over and over. Now, occasionally this does happen here. That's because it wasn't exactly kind of in the middle. So that is the only problem you do have to look out for when you are doing the setup. And then last but not least, what you want are pipes. You can do however way you want it. I like the pipes, the system in general, and then you do want a wrench. So you should get a wrench for free if you do get into any part of the create. But you would just then put it like so, and then you have to take your wrench, crouch, and then right click it. You need that like little lip, right? Because that means you're taking it out. If you have it only like that, right? No lip, it's going in there. So you'll be able to see here. So then we're just going to do so like so. And you can see nothing's happening right now, But the moment I put that lip, you can see items are being transferred out into this chest. And you just do that with all your chests. You link them all up. Make sure you have a lip on the ones you want items taken out of. And the reason why we have these chests underneath the obsidian is we don't want them exploding. But that's all we have to do. And now they'll always come into this barrel right here because we have them all funneling out from that. And so this chest right here, you can have it set so it has, say, the stack modifiers from sophisticated storage, just so then it has multiple things. And there you go, you saw it in action. For this one though, you probably want to set it to like obviously like much higher. You probably want to use maybe the orange sand or soul sand and set it to like maybe 2 minutes or 3 minutes just to find the exact one you want. Typically for 1 minute is enough for this one right here for the flowers. And then the other one, you'll probably want to set it to like 2 or 3 minutes just so it has time to grow, right? Because if you do set the game rule to say like 1,000 or 10,000, right? You can see how high those guys actually go. Like so, right? Like they go pretty high up and you can get quite a bit of flowers from them. So that's the one thing you do want to look out for. And then once you get to like, the point in the game where you have like the glowdine fish or you're automating the glowstone, and then if you have the ghost peppers that turn into the charcoal peppers, whatever, for your gunpowder, so you're automating TNT formation, then this is probably going to be viable for you if you want to go down this route. But anyways, I rambled on. I'm getting old. I guess that's what that means. But hopefully this helps you out. Is this the most efficient way? No, there's probably better ways. There's probably better mods. But this is the way I do it in Sunlit Valley. But anyways, I'll see you guys next time. God bless, goodbye, and all the things.